Today we blend history with a little bit of the impossible, or at least what most people tell us is a really bad idea, which I guess is not really. Anyway, stick around. We're going to be our own golf coach. Hey everybody, welcome back to Golf Test Dummy, the channel where I use my game to help your game. And you heard me right. I am going to try and make it really simple for us to be our own golf coach. Guys, real quick, don't forget, this is not November. This is Nocember. All month long, the month of November, until the stroke of midnight on the last day in November. I have a very special promo code in the description down below. There's a link you can click on and a promo code to use to get the BYO system from 24/7 Golf for yourself. You save $499 off the cost of the system. It comes with the mat, the projector, the cable, the ceiling mount, the enclosure, everything you're going to need except the simulator. But wait, they're also going to throw in, while supplies last, the Garmin Approach R10 simulator device, which is a $600 value in itself. That's about $1,100 in savings, but it's going to end at the end of November. If you're on the fence, this is the month to get your simulator. The most common point of view is that being your own golf coach, or even worse, letting your friends on the driving range or just some random stranger who walks up and tries to give you golf tips, the general consensus is that that's a bad idea. That can lead you down a lot of bad paths. Now, one thing I can tell you is that these guys, the simulators, TrackMan specifically, but on the GC Quad and even devices like the Garmin Approach R10 that I have out here, have helped us to reach a point where we can now definitively say that we know exactly what causes the different types of ball flights that are out there, often referred to as the golf ball flight laws. How have simulators helped us and developed the ball flight laws? Those devices have such precision that now we know what causes all of the different ball flights that exist, from draws to fades to push slices to straight shots. All of these different types of ball flights that you can have, assuming center strike, can now be explained 100% without question from these devices. So how can we use that? How can we use that to be our own golf coach? That is the point of this video, and that's what I want to explain to you. So if we think about all of the different flights that you can have, for instance, I like to hit a stock draw. I like a ball that starts to the right of the target line and then falls back left. The old school way of thinking was that if I wanted to hit a draw that started right and came back to the target line, which would fall left for me, a right-hander, a draw, I would aim the club face dead square to the target line, and then I would either align my body to the right, drop my right foot back, something to make my swing path go from the inside out or toward the first baseline or right field if you're a baseball player. I want the club path to go that way, and then I want the club face to be aimed that way, and then that would give me the draw. Now, that's not wholly and entirely untrue. However, we now know from these devices that the club face at impact determines approximately 75 to 85% of where your ball starts. So if my ball starts right, that means the club face had to be square to that line of flight at impact. Now the curvature to make it fall back left, that is determined by the relationship of the club face to my swing path. So in order to get a ball that starts to the right and then falls to the left in a draw along my target line, I would need the club face to be pretty much square to where I want it to start, and then I would need my path to be even more inside to out than that club face, so that the difference, the net result of that, would create the curvature that makes it fall left. I know it sounds really confusing, it gets confusing, but if we understand and we watch what our ball flights are doing, we can then determine where our club face was at impact and what our swing path did at impact. If we know those two things, then we can really start to make corrections. Now I'm going to do some diagnostic work on my own swing. I'm going to read the ball flights that I get, and from that I should be able to reverse engineer and figure out how my club face and my swing path, the relationship between the two of those, how those interacted and what actually happened. So my stock shot is a fairly straight shot, but it has a little bit of a draw. A ball that starts off to the right of target line a little bit and falls back toward it. So let me see if I can make my stock shot here. Now that one started right at target. It drew back ever so slightly, just a little bit, but it did not get all the way back to the target line. You'll see here on this flight path, it shows draw spin, but it stayed pretty much right the whole time. That is really close to just a straight block. Now a straight block means that my club face and the swing path relative to each other were pretty perpendicular. My club face was pretty square along my swing path. So I could do one of two things. Either I could A, turn the club face over more and have the same swing path to try and create a bigger gap between the two, or I could leave the club face where it was and I could try and swing even more into out to increase it. Let's see what happens when I change the club face first and make it more closed and keep the same swing path as I had. So now I'm going to close it down a little bit more and make the same path. Now there's your draw, but since the club face was set even more closed, it started more down the center line and peeled off to the left. You can see it starts right there on the center line, curves even more to the left. So you get your draw there, but you don't get the kind of draw you want. So that was changing the club face and not the path. That's incorrect. That's not giving me the result I want. That's a pull draw. I want a push draw. So I'm going to put the club face back to where it was, and this time I'm going to swing out more with the path, more into out, more out to the right for me. Let's see what happens here when I do this. That ball starts right, then curves back toward the center line. That is the shot that I want. All brought to you by the diagnostic work of the information that you get from these machines. Starts right, curves back to the left. So in order to get that draw shot that starts right and goes left, my club face had to be pointing slightly right of my target line impact, and my swing path had to be even more into out, so that the difference between the two causes the curvature. Now, if you have the ball flight law chart and you had it on your phone and you were looking at it, and you hit a shot out on the range of the golf course, and you say, okay, this is what my ball did there. So what created that? You can look at the face and the path orientation on that chart, and you know for a fact, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that the conditions at impact between your club face and the path had to be a certain way. At that point, it doesn't matter what you felt, what you think you did, what you thought could have happened. It doesn't matter. It had to be this way. For instance, for a right-hander, I hit a straight block off to the right. The ball doesn't curve left to right. It starts right and it stays down that same path the whole way. That is a straight block. In order for that to happen, my swing path had to be inside to out, and my club face had to be square to that swing path at impact. So if you know that, you can not only diagnose your bad shots and try to correct them to get them back to where you want them to be, but you can also use that to create shots that you've never created before. Let's put it to the test. I've always had a draw ball flight or a hook. 85% of golfers, however, hit a slice. Let's see if I can slice a golf ball. Just be forewarned, for somebody who normally hits a draw or a hook, hitting a slice, we might only end up with a power fade here, but I'm gonna give it my best shot. And I'm gonna try and create it the way that most slicers do, by coming out over the top, getting really steep, and cutting across the ball with an open club face. So I'm gonna aim quite a bit off to the left. I'm gonna have my club face open, to that path, and I'm going to try and cut across the top. All right, that is not the biggest slice in history. That's actually more of a fade. It's not bad for a first attempt. It definitely curved off to the right. Let's try one more time. So I want my face to be aimed left, but I really want to cut across the golf ball, swing out around it. Okay, that's a little bit more of a slice. Now, if I practice that, which, by the way, I'm not going to, but if I practiced that, I would get more and more proficient at it. However you make your swing, however you get the club to swing on a certain path, however you get the face to be oriented a certain way at impact, that's what you need to work on for you personally to figure out your formula for getting your face and your path to be matched up correctly to create the desired result. So for all of you slicers out there that would like to hit a draw, it's not just going to be a matter of changing your face and just moving your body. More than likely, it's going to take some work because your body is used to creating the type of conditions that produce a slice. Now you're going to have to get your body oriented in another way to create the exact opposite. It's going to be difficult. It's going to take time. But using these ball flight laws and learning how to diagnose your ball flights and to know exactly what must have happened rather than just taking a guess and being definitive because of these simulators and the information that they've given us, you have the information that you need now in order to be your own golf coach. I hope this helped you guys. If it did, leave me some comments down below. Be sure to click the thumbs up button. Don't forget there's a super thanks down there as a tip jar, and I'll see you in the next video.